Throughout Verandara's history, the continents of Xyrophilios and Xyranthia have been separated, cultivating their unique biotas. A biota is a collection of native species. On Xyrophilios, the descendants of the Serpentopodia hold every niche the continent has to offer, but on Xyranthia, descendants of the Aquilopods rule. Once the continents collide, the stage will be set for ecological chaos. A biotic interchange is an event in which two or more previously separated biotas come into contact with one another. This results in creatures competing for the same resources as they have both evolved for similar niches. This competition usually results in one species going extinct. Most commonly, one biota, which is called the donator biota, has an advantage, allowing its species to quickly colonize the recipient biota. This effect can be seen in the GABI, or Great American Biotic Interchange, in which the North American biota quickly spread and outcompeted their South American counterparts. It is theorized that since the North American climate was cooler, its inhabitants had an easier time moving to South America's tropical climate. Xyrophilios and Xyranthia have an extremely similar climate, so that won't have any effect on the results. The greatest predictor of the outcome of interchange events is land area. The more land area, the greater the number of resources, and thus the biodiversity the land mass can support. Xyranthia is the larger of the two continents, but as it collides with Xyrophilios, it also loses a great amount of mass, making the two continents roughly the same size. Before a land bridge even forms, smaller animals will be able to raft between the two continents. Animals such as the hexoforms and other small creatures will be the first to invade a new continent. As the two land masses connect, a new world is opened up for the animals that inhabit them. The first creatures to cross the new land bridge are likely to be large herbivores, such as the dendropard. These massive animals will face stiff competition from the Cirrhopodia as they move into the unexplored territory of Xyrophilios. To survive and thrive, the dendropard will need to adapt to their new environment. Fortunately, the dendropard has an advantage over the Cirrhopodia, as they have full legs that provide greater support and allow them to sustain much larger body sizes. However, as they grow larger, retaining a proportionate beak would require too many resources to be viable, and they may struggle to support the large beak their ancestors possessed. As a result, the beaks of these creatures would not be as large as their ancestors. As these large herbivores evolve, they will push many of the larger Cirrhopodia species to extinction. We will call these larger dendropards the neoyantas. Growing up to 20 feet tall and living for up to 50 years, the neoyantas are the longest living inhabitants of Verandara. It is theorized that larger animals have many more cells and, as a result, much slower metabolisms, causing their cells to age slower than smaller species. Their sheer size and power will make them the dominant herbivores, with some even spreading back into Xyranthia. With the migration of more herbivores to Xyrophilios, the ecosystem is set to undergo a significant change. This influx of herbivores will attract their natural predators, who will follow them to this new habitat. Unfortunately, this may cause the extinction of many native herbivores, as they are not equipped to deal with these new predators. In this new ecosystem, the gymnoped currently occupies the position of the apex predator, but its dominance is threatened by the arrival of the proviapard. The proviapard is a four-legged creature that can run effectively. This, combined with their facultative endothermy, gives them a significant advantage over the gymnoped, which cannot pursue prey actively as they only have one pair of legs. This competition may push the gymnoped to extinction, with the proviapard eventually becoming the new apex predator of the ecosystem. As herbivores migrate into the continents, the native plants may also undergo adaptations. One potential adaptation is the development of spikes along their bark, which could deter any creature that attempts to consume them. Furthermore, these plants may also have sharp leaves for additional protection. We will call these plants the Ankatophyto. They grow up to 5 feet tall and grow in sparse patches in the steppe. Yet other plants may opt for different strategies. Many plants on Earth have evolved chemical defenses to deter predators such as the eucalyptus. On this alien planet, a clade of Volvophyta may evolve a similar adaptation. Initially, the chemical may simply leave a bad taste in the creature's mouth, but as these plants specialize, their chemicals may become toxic. If an animal is exposed to a high enough dosage, they will experience vomiting and even death, but this is only if the animal is not deterred by the unpleasant taste. However, similarly to the epidermata of the rainforests, the toxic nature of these plants will do no good if the plant has already been damaged. Therefore, they may advertise their toxicity with pale white leaves, letting herbivores know to stay away. We will call these toxic pterophytes the Ergostaphita, with their toxin being called ergostol. They grow up to 4 feet tall. As the continents collide, a population of keratopod may be caught in the middle of the interchange. With the ferocity of predators at this time, these creatures may evolve several defense mechanisms. The first of which is size. They may trade speed for bulk, allowing them to ward off smaller predators with their size alone. Another method of defense is to use their sharp claws to slash at predators. However, they will need to keep their claws sharp for this strategy to be effective. One way of achieving this goal is to keep their claws raised off the ground. Alternatively, they may adopt a knuckle-walking technique, which involves supporting their weight on their knuckles, keeping the tips of their digits off the ground. This adaptation is seen in creatures such as the giant anteater, which uses its claws to break into ant nests. In addition to knuckle-walking, these creatures may have the ability to stand on their hind legs to intimidate predators. Although they may have lost the lecking behaviors of their ancestors, they still use booming calls to communicate. We will call these herbivores the Volcopod. They can grow up to 6 feet tall and live for up to 30 years. Other herbivores may adopt a different survival strategy. During the Great American Biotic Interchange, species that possessed armor had a greater chance of survival. One particular group of Gnatharios migrated to Xyrophilios and may evolve a massive shell. This shell is an extension of their spine, which restricts their movements. These creatures utilize their beak crests to safeguard their faces against attackers. In the face of danger, they retract their legs under the shell and remain motionless, rendering them nearly invulnerable. We shall refer to these well-protected creatures as characipods. They grow up to 3 feet in length and can survive for up to 20 years. However, some creatures possess the ability to break these hard shells, the syntodonts. These creatures have teeth that are incredibly strong and were once used for cracking bones. They can use these powerful teeth to crack open the shells of the characipod with ease. As they continue to evolve, the teeth of the syntodonts may adapt to become shorter and blunter, which would be even more effective for cracking shells. Moreover, the muscles surrounding the head and jaws of the syntodonts may strengthen over time, giving them an unparalleled bite force that surpasses that of any other creature on Verandara. Comparable to the spotted hyena on Earth, with a bite force of 1,000 to 1,300 psi, they can exert tremendous pressure with their jaws and crush almost anything that comes their way. These crushing creatures are known as vondontopods and can grow up to 7 feet long and live for up to 28 years. In addition to their powerful jaws, the vondontopods possess stomach acid that is strong enough to digest all parts of an animal, including the shells of the characipod. As the inhabitants of Xyranthia migrate to Xyrophilios, the native clades will need to adapt. The native creatures of Xyrophilios did not need high speed before the interchange, as the gymnoped relied on ambush hunting. However, with the proviopod making their way deeper into Xyrophilios, the descendants of the syncomopoda may evolve to become swift runners. As they specialize in speed, their arms may be repurposed as running legs. Bipedalism offers much greater speed to these creatures, but at the cost of stability. They may circumvent this by enlarging their tail to counterbalance their weight. Their neck may elongate to spot predators from a distance. All these adaptations combined give them a strong resemblance to the extinct ornithomimids of Earth, making them a remarkable sight to behold. The vimipsopod, as we will call them, can grow up to 5 feet tall and can live up to 25 years. They may become so successful that they could spread into Xyranthia. As the continents collide, the two rainforests will join together, placing their clades in competition. One clade sure to proliferate in the joined rainforests is the Arpazontas. Due to the increased amount of small prey available, some Arpazontas may give up the ancestral tactic of lying in wait and instead may adopt a more active feeding style. They may evolve venom to quickly subdue prey. This venom travels through the bloodstream and infiltrates neural pathways, preventing nerve signals from jumping between neurons, thus killing the target in a matter of seconds. This venom may originate from a singular fang located in the center of the mouth. This arrangement requires the creature to be extremely accurate when lunging at prey. We will call them the Monodonta. They live for up to 26 years and grow up to 6 feet long. But the interchange between Xyrophilios and Xyranthia isn't the only interchange taking place. Due to the shifting of continents, the island of Gigantos collided with Xyrophilios, resulting in a smaller-scale biotic interchange. Clades such as the Serichnopod and Scopicopoda, which have specialized with smaller body sizes compared to their mainland counterparts, are likely to go extinct due to fierce competition from mainland clades. On the other hand, creatures like the Viviphodius and Piastropod might gain a foothold, spreading further mainly along the coasts. As the Great Collision of the continents occurred, a significant chunk of land broke off from Xyranthia, forming an island continent known as Paragi. Since Paragi became detached from Xyranthia, the species that inhabit this new land have begun to evolve in unique ways, distinct from their mainland counterparts. Paraliagi's climate is notably cooler than mainland Xyranthia, and the island is mostly covered in open steppe with only a few patches of trees. Due to the sparse tree coverage, a group of dendropod may have evolved to become robust grazers, reducing in size to adapt to the new environment. This clade is closely related to Arsenrio, but their horns have gradually shrunk over time. Nonetheless, they are still capable of producing rumbling calls, which are an important part of their social communication. We will refer to this clade as the chloropod. They can grow up to 4 feet tall and live for as long as 37 years. One clade of Chautophyta may evolve a parasitic lifestyle. Their seeds need to land on an open wound to take root. Once they've nestled into the skin of their host, they will sprout roots. Their main goal is to leach enough energy to produce a large seed sac. This seed sac may contain up to 1,000 seeds before dispersal. Throughout the life cycle of this plant, they may leach nutrients from the host's blood. As the plant metabolizes, it will produce multiple byproducts such as gases. These gases will be stored in the plant seed sac, and at the end of their 6-week life cycle, the seed sac will burst, flinging out thousands of tiny seeds into the air. These seeds are equipped with tiny leaves that act as a parachute, allowing them to ride the wind for weeks. The sheer amount of seeds released almost guarantees that at least one will make its way to a new host. After the plant has released all its seeds, it will die, and as it decays it will leave a space where its seed sac was. This open wound may be susceptible to reinfection, allowing new parasites to sprout roots, enabling the cycle to repeat. In smaller creatures, this cycle could lead to death. We'll call these vile organisms the dermatophyte. Once this clade evolves, they may quickly spread to the mainland by way of flying creatures. The population of Comaneci that find themselves on Paragi will have to cope with a much cooler climate compared to their desert home. The soil of Paragi will be much harder compared to the sand that they are used to burrowing in. Therefore, they may become more adept at traversing the underground. Their snouts may curve and elongate, allowing them to use their heads as a shovel, scooping up dirt and pushing it behind them. Their back pair of legs may evolve to complement their snout, further pushing away dirt. Their beak and eyes may shrink, allowing them to smoothly maneuver through the ground. Their front legs may become extremely powerful, with large claws and a thick webbing to break down the soil. Instead of simply digging a burrow, these creatures will live underground, only surfacing to feed, drink, and mate. We will call them the Piscronici. They can grow up to 2 feet long and live for up to 28 years. The slow but inevitable movement of continental plates has resulted in a minor extinction event, the results of which could not be predicted, and we were compelled to watch this monumental biotic interchange event play out before our eyes. As the two uniquely adapted, yet previously separated biotas came into contact with one another, their creatures competed for the same resources. This competition initiated a tumultuous period in which the Cirrhopodia and Gymnopt were outcompeted by incoming clades from Xeranthia. The Syntodonts faced pressure from the Scantopelma of Xeranthia and the newly evolved Vondontopod, which resulted in their demise. Island clades such as the Scopicopoda and Serichnopod were pushed to extinction as they weren't adapted for the levels of competition on the mainland. The herding Syncomopoda have also gone extinct due to an influx of new predators, and the Aquilotundas were also outcompeted by the Fidilopodia. This collapse and reconstruction of the ecosystem will eventually stabilize, returning Verandara to a harmonic balance. And now, we have made it to the end of Season 1 of Project Solara. I cannot thank you all enough for watching. For now, we will leave Verandara and venture to the farthest reaches of Solara's habitable zone, where we will explore life on planet Makirraji. A huge thank you to all the artists on Discord who made fan art for this episode. Your contributions to this project were invaluable. If you want to join the Discord server, you can find the link in the description below.